I was drafted into the Army and left here on the 26th day of April, 1944. Went to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, stayed there 3 or 4 days till they figured out where a bunch of us was going. And they loaded up 3 bus loads and we headed for Camp Walters, Texas. That's at Mineral Wells. And we got in there, was assigned to a company, set up housekeeping, and they began to tell us what all would happen, what could happen, the general stuff in basic training. Well, for one reason or another, I got about 3 emergency furloughs that spring and came home. Well, when you lose out on your training, they transfer you to another company. So I transferred 3 times, and there were some parts of the basic training that I had been through 2 or 3 times when this company that I finally wound up with got to it. And we was into the machine guns, and on the 30 caliber light that we had in them days, well, it's got a buffer group that the bolt that slides back and forth that loads and unloads the gun. It'll throw the old shell out and put a new one in. It's built into the handle of where the trigger is. And it's got 13 little fiber discs in there that is a shock absorber for that bolt, because that bolt's a pretty heavy piece of metal. And you can take half of those disc out, the fiber disc, you take them out and put a nickel in place of each one of them. And that gun normally will shoot about 250 shots a minute. You put that in there and it will more than double its rate of fire. Well, it just so happened that we got with this company, and the officer told the sergeant, said, take 3 men with you, go over to the armory, pick up, I believe it was 12 machine guns, set 11 of them up for the trainees, and set 1 up for demonstration firing. And I happened to be one of the 3 that they picked. So we went over and got the guns, loaded them on the truck. The sergeant, he got up the cab with the driver. And me and those other 2 trainees was there in the back. And I says, now you all didn't see nothing. We went on back to base, or back to the firing range, set the guns up, and we had one special gun there that we set it out to set up for demonstration firing. Well, they got everything going, and the lieutenant, he gets up and he makes his big blah blah speech about what all to do and how to do it and how the gun will shoot and this and that and the other. And he turned to that sergeant and he said, fire off a short burst. He pulled the trigger on that one, and that gun went crazy. It sits on a tripod, and it's sandbagged down. If it hadn't been, there's no telling what it would have done. Because it startled him. It went to shooting so fast that he shot a half a belt of shells. There's 250 shells in a belt. And he shot a half a belt before he get his finger off the trigger. Well, that lieutenant throwed a ring-tail fit. And he wanted to know who done it. And the sergeant says, they didn't nobody do it. Said, we just loaded them in that truck. We'll come back. So they blamed it on somebody that had used the gun earlier. They blamed it on them. Of course, everybody got a big laugh out of it for what it done, because it startled the lieutenant and it startled that sergeant. But they never did find out who done it. And I never did get my nickels back either.